Yes. So because I got a fat ass head, tap, tap, tap. If I was a goblin, this is where my ear would sit. Oh, hello there. Big old tub. Girl, she is dirty. I'm a scary, angry goblin. Oh my. So here are all the products you're gonna need. First of all, some Model Magic clay, some flour, liquid latex, a bowl and some sculpting tools. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. We're just making some goblin ears. So obviously starting with the ears, I'm just doing a little bit of research because I don't know, I don't have a goblin next to me to look at. So when I find a reference photo, I just grab the Model Magic clay and start molding the ears. You can probably buy this Model Magic clay from most craft stores. I just got mine from Spotlight. I love working with this clay just because it's super, super light, easy to use, and it's also non-toxic.
Oh, very nice ears.
Thank you.
Oh.
Do they look like Yoda's ears? Yes. So after you're happy with the shape of the ears, you can just start to roughly sketch in those little inner bits. I don't know what they're called. Those bits, those foldy bits, the inner bits of an ear. I'm just holding mine together so I can make sure they look the same on each side. Just like that. So now that I know how I want the inner ear to look, I just start to build up those little foldy bits of the ear. Thank you, with latex paste. So if you don't know what latex paste is or how to make it, I'm about to run through it shortly. Or if you're impatient, just check the description below, there'll be a timestamp just for you. So literally all I'm doing is grabbing latex paste, adding it to the area that I kind of sketched out before, and then dipping my applicator into just plain liquid latex to smooth out the area. How cool is that? It's all the inside bits of an ear.
Oh, that looks good.
That's really good. Nice.
So I don't know if you could tell, I was pretty happy with how that turned out, but now that that's all finished and you're happy with it, just set it aside to dry. Now just moving on to the nose. So for the nose, I rolled out a very thin layer of that Model Magic clay and then molded it to my actual nose. So this just created a temporary cast. This is what it looks like. If you have a face cast of yourself, obviously you can use that. It's probably the best thing to use, but if you don't, this is a close second. Just make sure you smooth down the edges and then powder the surface before applying any latex or latex paste. So to create the nose, you just apply the latex paste in layers and then smooth out the surface pretty much until you're happy with the shape. It's really important though to have a thin layer of latex around the bottom of the prosthetic. This will just help you later on when you actually apply it. And once you're happy with it, just set it aside to dry. When the prosthetic is dry, you can remove it from its little cast or whatever surface it's on. I will go into this later and explain a little bit more in detail on how to actually remove it. So to make latex paste, all you're going to need is some liquid latex and some flour. I don't usually go by specific measurements, but it's about 2 parts liquid latex to 1 part flour. But that doesn't mean you just chuck in all of your flour at once. It's really important just to mix in little bits at a time. If you add in too much flour at once, the mixture will just become way too dry and unworkable, and then you can't really salvage the mixture at all, and you'll just have to start all over again. So just keep adding in flour until you're happy with the consistency that you want to work with. It should kind of look like something in between like a soft serve ice cream and then like a really wet dough. So now just moving on to the chin, I just go back in with that Model Magic clay and I'm just molding the chin. I'm going to be applying the latex paste over the top of this. Always just make sure you smooth out the edges of the clay and powder it before applying latex paste. So now I just start applying the latex paste over the top of the clay, and when I'm happy with the amount of latex paste, I just start to smooth out the surface. Make sure you dip your fingers or a brush in the liquid latex before you start smoothing out the latex paste. Otherwise the latex paste will just get stuck to your fingers and it'll just take so much longer to try and sculpt it. And now just moving on to the brow bone. So I'm just using the latex paste again. Pretty much just doing the same thing except not using the clay underneath. And now just going back in with that liquid latex on my finger just to smooth out the surface. And as you can see here, I've built up the area pretty high. This will just help to create a deep set eye and also just make me look permanently up to no good, which is perfect for being a cheeky little goblin. So once you're all done, just leave it aside to dry. I usually just let mine sit overnight, but it just depends how thick the latex paste is. So now on to removing a latex prosthetic from a surface that you've sculpted on. The main things to remember are to use a setting powder or any kind of powder, be gentle and to work slowly. I like to start by powdering the entire surface of the prosthetic and then work my way around the edges until I get to the center. Here I'm just using a setting powder, but you can also just use like a baby powder or even flour. Here I'm just gently lifting the prosthetic while applying powder. This just makes sure that the latex doesn't stick to itself. And once you've removed all of your prosthetics, you can stick them on your face. So firstly, to start off this look, I'm just going to cleanse my skin and then pop in some contacts because I find it a little bit harder to do later on. So the contacts I'm using are these little green bad boys. I will link everything in the description below. So my makeup is off, I've cleansed my face, my contacts are in. Very cool. And I'm just gonna get straight into it. I'm gonna kind of sleek my hair back with gel and put on this bald cap. It's gonna be a look. And because my hair is long, I'm not going to bother trying to maneuver all of my hair inside the bald cap. So I'm just doing a little, did I show my armpits? Yeah, so I'm just doing a little plait. The braid will sit kind of just out of the bald cap. If you were dressing up for like a party or something and you have really long hair, what you can do is you can just kind of tuck it in the back of your costume. So that's a good little trick. Bye. So now just putting the bald cap on. Why is this the first thing I'm putting on the internet? I'm using Ben Nye's Spirit Gum. She's a matte adhesive. We love her. So this is just a little lip applicator that I'm using. With Spirit Gum, you've got to tap, 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 tap until it's tacky, and then she's ready. So now that that is tacky, yes, alien facelift. So for my ears, Yoda. I'm gonna use Prosthetic. This is from Scotty's. What I like to do with Prosthetic is just apply it kind of roughly to the area, and then I also put a little teeny tiny bit on the back of the prosthetic. To know when it's ready, it just goes clear. So that's when you know that she's ready to go. My arms are jiggling so much. Okay. So I'm just doing the same thing on the other side. Just lay some Prosthetic down on my bald cap and also on the back of my little ear. So here I'm just using a skin safe paper tape. Not only is this tape going to support my ears and help them stay up, it's also like gonna blend in that edge a little bit nicer. I feel adorable. So this is my nose. I also cut little holes in there in my nostrils so I can breathe. Taking the Spirit Gum again, I am just going to be pretty much doing the same thing that I did for the bald cap. I'm also just taking some Vaseline now and just rubbing that over my brows. And then again, just tap, tap, tap until she's tacky. I feel like Lady Gaga from A Star Is Born. Okay, let's do the chin next. Where's my jawline? Why am I just... Okay. So next I have my very aggressive eyebrows. So I'm just repeating the same process that I did for my nose as well. So outlining the area, applying spirit gum, and then tapping to make sure it's tacky. How am I looking? So next off, I'm going to be using some nose and skull wax. I'm out of breath. With this, I am hoping to just kind of create a deeper eye socket. I might try and do some wrinkles. I don't know. But basically how I apply this is I use spirit gum and then pop this bad boy over the top and then mold it with the Vaseline. So just taking a spatula. So I like to pop a bit of Vaseline in my hand before I start molding it. Okay, so I'm just going in with my tingies and the Vaseline. So I'm just using this tool to kind of scrape off some of the skull wax. Yay! I'm going to just put some latex over the top of that. This is by Scotty's as well. While I'm here, I'm just going to stipple just around the edge of the bald cap. So now I'm just going to try and create some wrinkles. So I'm just grabbing the skull wax again, and this time I'm going to roll it into little noodles. It's pretty grumpy looking. I just applied a thin layer of latex over the skull wax, and now I'm going to just put over some setting powder. So I'm using Cryolin's translucent powder. Just with a fluffy brush, I'm just going to apply some of the setting powder pretty much all over my freaking head. Miss Squizzy. You basically just want to apply a setting powder over any latex. The latex gets sticky and it's a whole thing. So now I'm going to lay down a base color. So for that I'm just using Maron's Cream Blend. This is in shade TV4. I think I'm just going to be using a concealer brush to blend that out everywhere. So that is my base color. Now I'm taking this one as well, this cream stick, pretty much like a white. And I'm just using the stipple sponge and creating a bit of texture. So I'm also just using a brown shade here as well. This is just going to create some age spots and some freckles and some more pigmentation. So I mean, you can leave the look kind of similar to something like this. I want my goblin to be green. I am using an airbrush. You definitely don't have to use an airbrush. The colors that I'm mixing together, my green, a couple of drops of brown, and then white. This is porcelain foundation, but it's basically white. Let's get started. Now I'm going to start going in with some eyeshadow. So the palette I'm going in with is the Meet Matte Trimini palette. I love this palette for special effects just because of these reds and nudes. They're so amazing.
I'm just going to be using the red, purple, brown and black shades.
And I want more of that red on the eyelid.
And I'm just using that darker brown again just to deepen my wrinkles. Here I'm just using the airbrush again just to take that colour down onto my neck.
This is the Skin Illustrator
palette. She's an alcohol activated paint. So you need 99.9% alcohol spray. I just like to put some kind of like in the corner of the palette. I'm just taking this brown and I'm just creating some little pigmentation moments. Especially on top of the ears and on top of the head. Because if you think about it, like this is just a little goblin. He ain't got no hat. From the Ben Knight Bruise Wheel, like a dark maroon, this one. I'm just creating little mouth wrinkles. I'm just gonna line my waterline. And now for the final touch, I'm just taking this black tooth color by Ben Knight and applying that all over my teeth. So that is the final look. Thanks so much for watching, guys. If you like this video, then like it and make sure to subscribe. I will link all the products in the description below. Let me know as well in the comments what you guys want to see next. I'm always keen for suggestions. So yeah, that's a wrap. Let's go wash this shit off. It's like 2:30 a.m. Bye!